Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Happy Sunday. John Burnell in the chat. George Anderson, Ben Toombs, Turtle Dust. We've got, yeah. I wonder how much the anvil weighs in fish. Lots. Depending on the fish, you know. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Happy Sunday. We are the Impractical Blacksmiths. On the screen, it's me and Adam. Alexis is here on phone, and she's at work, so she'll be in and out, I'm sure. But and of course, hello to all the lurkers. How could I forget Tim? Hello. Good morning. A lot of fun stuff, I'm sure. Like what we did last time. What's up, Paul? Like what we did last time, taking the conversation that we were having pre-show and just carrying it over into the show. A lot of fun, a lot of fun. We were. I hopped on the mic. Oh, I'll get to that here in a second. My side of the story. So, well, I guess we'll start with how was your 2 weeks?
Well, I'll go first because I don't know what Alexis is doing. I'm sure she can pop in after. My 2 weeks was actually exceptionally busy. So, of course, last week I worked up until Friday. And then I had a function last weekend where I was invited to do a stall. Now, it was a stall indoors at night, so it was just selling stuff. But in the lead up, because I've had so much going on around my property lately, I didn't really have time to forge anything specific for this specific function. So it was on Saturday night. I knocked off work Friday morning, and of course I'm a night shift worker. So I got home. I thought, yep, I got straight home. Went, I'm going to have a 2 hour nap, and then get up and get out into the workshop. That didn't work. I went to bed and didn't wake up until 5 o'clock that night. I absolutely was KO'd, and I've slept the whole day. So that wasted that day. So went to bed relatively early on the Saturday night again after getting up at 5 o'clock. So went to bed about 9 o'clock Saturday evening, and woke up at 4 a.m. to start forging at 5 a.m. Forged through till 5 p.m. In order to get some sort of stock, or at least some mock-ups for this stall that I had, because I didn't actually expect any direct sales from this stall. It was all people in that community showing interest, putting in orders for custom stuff and all that type of thing. So I got some mock-ups done. I had one project almost finished. I got 3/4 of the way through, and then I just ran out of time. So I had to basically take what I had, do this stall, and so that started at 10 p.m. that evening on the Saturday. So mind you, I'd been awake and forging since 5 a.m. Finished forging at 5, had a shower, got ready, packed up the ute and all the stall stuff, took it in. I was there by 8 to set up my stall. The function started at 9 and went through till 4 a.m. the next morning. And then I didn't get home until 5. So I'd been up and going for 24 hours by the time, and forging and like physically active by the time I got home. I was absolutely buggered. So I took Sunday basically to pass out and to recuperate, because I was massively dehydrated by that stage too. Of course, I was drinking and keeping fluids up, but when you awake 24 hours and you're working in the forge in the heat that was here, and it was just, I was worn out. So I took Sunday off, and then Monday, of course, the concreter come around to do the base for my shed, the foundations and half the slab. If anyone follows me on Instagram, you would see that the most of my shed is mostly erected. I put up the last 2 days. We put up the frame and started attaching tin to the workshop, and I just ran out of screws. So because I had to wait for the concrete to dry over the course of this week, so and set. So did that. It's all now attached to the foundations. Most of the tins up, but I've run out of screws. So that's a job for my next week off, and that's been my last couple of days. However, a little bit of exciting. Paul Fontanini said with no insulation. It's insulation also keeps heat in. So when the ambient temperature is 30 odd degrees anyway, if you keep heat in a forge, you're still going to end up bloody hot. So it doesn't make a difference. Just open up the doors, open up the windows, and let the blow through and suck out the hot air. Hot air does rise, so in that way it can get out. But one bit of exciting news. Sorry,
you said but and I said bump.
Yeah, yeah. So one bit of exciting news that I got is I've actually got a lead. I was contacted by the person who has it, and I've just got to organise to pick it up as a bit of an exchange. I have a lead on about 150 odd 1 inch or 20 mil, not quite 1 inch, so about 20 mil bars of wrought iron from the late 1800s, so about 1883-ish. They're probably about, I don't know, probably a foot and a half long.
What is that in millimeters?
Foot a bit. That is,
or centimeters.
30, probably about 50 centimeters or 500 mils.
Okay. What is that in meters?
So about 40 centimeters. About 0.4 of a meter.
All right. What is that in nanometers?
I don't know the nanometer.
Okay, now what is that in bananas?
Bananas, probably about 3 bananas. No, maybe 4.5 bananas.
Okay, I'm glad we got that cleared up, and I'm glad that we've got that, dialed in.
This will tie into our conversation about weights and measures today. But anyway, so this is authentic wrought iron from the late 1800s. So that will be really, really good for me to learn to work wrought iron more. I haven't had much experience with real wrought iron simply because I don't have access to it. So it will assist me in learning some of the intricacies of raw iron that I have only. I've worked steel, I've worked mild steel and all that type of thing. I've never had the ability to work raw iron. I've only worked a little bit of raw iron from the people that have sent me some raw iron. And they're only small pieces because shipping, heavy metals across the world is tough. So I have some decent stock of wrought that I can have in stock to use for projects going into the future, but I also have it for working with and learning to work it in charcoal in my forge. So that would be really interesting. But so back onto the shed. So I have 6x6 meters. For those that aren't following on my Instagram, it's a 6x6 meter shed. I thought it was 5x5, but it's 6x6. And I have half of the floor space concreted and half of it not concreted. Now I did get asked, and I answered it in the video that I posted on Instagram today. But the reason why I've got half of it non-concreted is I intend on backfilling that with soil and gravel, and that will be my hot work area, my forging area, because I find it more comfortable to sand on dirt or earth for extended periods of time. I find concrete is very harsh on your feet and harsh on your hips and back. I also found out a little bit of, I wouldn't say bad news, but concerning news for me, in that I'm developing arthritis in one of my hips. I found that out this week. So as a result of that, being aware of my body and stuff like that, and like I said, standing on dirt versus standing on concrete, which can be a bit hard for you, can be it can be a bit tough. So on the dirt, also dirt doesn't burn. I mean, concrete doesn't technically burn either, but it can spoil if you drop hot steel or something on it. Whereas they don't generally have that issue with dirt. So by having the dirt there, I'm going to raise it up to the same level of the concrete. That gives me double the working space if I need it. However, the hot area will be on the dirt, and then I can use the concrete area for for my general workbench, filing, all that type of stuff, and also have it as a work area if I need it. A concrete base for whatever reason. Also, by having the concrete, I can draw on it with chalk and do designs and all that type of thing. So that's another idea as well. So that was my week. Alexis, if you want to take yourself off mute and have a chat, do so. Unless you're busy.
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay.
Thomas, you can go ahead because
Okay.
I'm kind of doing some precision chip here right now.
Sure. As for my week, the usual getting shit done at work, getting shit done at both my jobs, electrical and with Descent. I've got our podcast is doing great with that. Work wise, it is picking up. It is, we've got a job coming up next week that started a year ago, and it's basically a damn near a new construction. It's an old cottage on a piece of land that a guy from New York bought, and over the past few years we've been going over there and fixing it up and working on it, but he can only do it like a week or two at a time every handful of months. Well, we're going to be finishing it finally next week. It'll be good to get that job out of the way and see what else he's got for us. That safe that I've been working on tearing up and throwing down yesterday. I finally got it all finished, cut up and cleaned up, and all the concrete that was inside of it sorted to where I'm going to be using it. I got my truck bed cleaned out because I got to move a futon after this after the show. I've got to head over to my brother's and move a futon. Got all. So those of you who saw my truck at Quad State, not this past one, but the previous one, all of you guys who threw your beer cans in my in the truck bed and all the water bottles and shoes and random garbage and all the metal that ended up getting thrown in my truck bed. My truck bed's clean now. I finally got all that stuff out yesterday. Easily 1,000 pounds of metal. Easily. I will. Turtle Dust. I will put a picture in either the YouTube or here in Discord. Probably YouTube. Maybe make it fun. I got to start using YouTube again. But yeah, it's clean. Still has dirt in it. I didn't get up in there and power wash it and all that. I just got all the garbage out of it. I put my tow rope and stuff back into it, but whatever. But yeah, been doing a lot of work on this podcast, and again, as usual, I would love for you guys to check it out. On Spotify, D&D 721. We did a test. We released the test episode for our arena battles, which is what, for example, Adam, you want to get into playing with us at some point. The arena battles and the one shots are the way to do it. and I can get with you on that. We're not fully released yet, but yeah. Obviously, I have to get you on Telegram and introduced to the group, but get that started, and yeah, fake pics. But yeah, basically been busy as shit doing that, and having a blast with it. I'm trying to think what else. Holidays are coming up, and while in previous years, I think last year we did that first thing where it's like, okay, you know what, we're going to take the holidays off, and look at the schedule and see how it falls, and give everybody some time, for holiday activities. But after once we get a chance, we'll get that figured out and let you all know what days we'll be, doing things. I did have an idea that I want to get my shop cleaned up, and I've got some ideas of things that the builder in me is kicking back in. So it's like I kind of want to. Moving all that steel got me thinking, like, I could turn this into this. I could do this. I could light my forge and actually do something again. So I'm going to try to make some time for that and try to record some and post it. Yeah. So come on.
Yeah, so my 2 weeks has been basically one continuous anxiety attack. I got some weight on it. All right, 10 4. I only worked one day. That sucks. A whole week, 17 hours. But last week, the week before last was pretty good. This week sucks. Yeah. See my therapist twice. That's odd. Usually it's once a month. But yeah, I'm just working through shit, and I'm actually working today, so that's freaking nice. A little bit, Alex. Let me get a. Come on. Come on. A little bit, Alex. A little bit. And come on. No, no, no. Oh, there it is. All right. Anyways, yeah, I haven't done anything really for stuff. I did make a little spoon holder out of some piece of metal that I have no idea what it was. Various people have made attempts at identifying it, what it was before, and I had fun making it. It's not all that great, but it was just for the monthly blacksmith challenge thing, and the point for me wasn't really to try to win. The point was for me to actually freaking participate, because I've just motivation has been in such short supply for the last like couple months that I was kind of just getting frustrated with not wanting to do anything. And so the other day I was finally in the mood. I went outside, I lit the coal forge, and I spent a couple hours just eating and beating, and then not paying attention to anything else. And, let's see. Oh yeah, I did go home Friday. I went home Friday, and I bought. Alex. I guess cool. I went home and I bought the half of the stuff to start my ceramic tile countertop in my house. So that's pretty awesome, considering that I moved into the house 5 years ago, and the countertop wasn't done. The only two things she had remodeled was the countertop and the master bath. And so for 5 years, no countertop. It's just been the top of the cabinet, the part towards the cabinet. And so I got everything except for the ceramic tile and the grout, because that's what I'm gonna do, is the ceramic tile countertop. Because I had one of those at a log cabin I lived in Wyoming. I thought it was pretty awesome. I sent my daughter all the pictures of the tiles that I thought might work, and she never answered me. So I was like, fine. I just left Lowe's and didn't buy any tiles. Like, you're not gonna tell me which one you want? I ain't getting it. And that is my 2 weeks, and I might be able to be in and out during the show. They did tear this thing apart overnight, so everything came at once. And I got continuous work for the next about 5 hours. So that's my 2 weeks. Carry on.
There you go.
Nice.
Admittedly, a lot of that sounded like underwater, but I think we got the gist, getting back into the shop as well.
And at least you're getting some work today as opposed to not working for the last week. So that's good.
Exactly.
Got to make that money to take those holidays there, Alexis.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I know that's right.
So, yeah. I hopped into the chat and, this morning, the team chat here this morning, and, was bombarded with, Adam going absolutely bonkers bananas. He was losing his mind, like irrationally angry. I'm talking popping veins, cussing, nasty words, old man yelling at the clouds kind of stuff about measurements and trying to convert a simple mathematical measurement of 31/64 into centanometers and or millimeters, millimeters, and losing his mind. And I told him, listen, the easiest way to do it is just convert to bananas first. It's the preferred method of aliens.
Yeah, and then Yamesh told me the measurement, the distance between Earth and the Moon in bananas.
Yep.
But he couldn't tell me if it was bananas per football field or bananas per soccer pitch.
No, soccer pitches don't exist.
So, to give you guys
for those who are curious, the distance from the Earth to the Moon in bananas is 2,171,818,181 bananas. Okay.
Yeah, but you got to give the standard measurement for a banana.
The standard measurement for a banana is 7 inches. And how many centanometers is a banana?
Well, if going on 7 inches, that is about give or take 2.5 centimeters to an inch, give or take. So that's what 7 times 2, 14, about 17 inches.
Sure. 17 inches to the 7 inches of a banana.
That's about 17 centimeters. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
See, converting back and forth from okay, I'm not going to call it imperial anymore because it's actually not called imperial. It's called U.S. customary. Okay, and U.S. customary units have frustrated me to beyond belief today. Before the stream started, and as many of you know, because the other week I did a live stream, I have been working on my book in earnest. Okay, I've been, and some of you may be part of some of the group chats that I'm part of. So, as it sits today, I am currently 433 pages and 143,000 words into my book. Now, to give you a bit of a comparison, the complete practical blacksmithing that I annotated and edited, which means it's got more words than the original, is 200,000 words and 900 pages. or 700 pages. 700 pages. All right. 700 pages and 200,000 words. I'm at 433 pages and 140,000.
What's
So I'm nearly at capacity.
What's
I'm
the
nearly
width?
at capacity.
Stop laughing. What's the width of a page in bananas? So how many bananas per page? How many words is one banana? I need to know the measurements of your book in bananas.
No, I don't know them. Yeah, I'll send you a copy and you can do it later on. Okay. So, yeah, they keep letting me write books here, but Ben. Anyway, so I am currently, so I was editing, and part of editing the book, let me see if I can actually share my screen for a moment. So you guys can see.
All right, give me a heads up. I can do some adjustments once you share it.
Just a second. Yep, just let me move to the right so that you can actually see it. So, where am I? There I am. There. Helpful if I didn't mute myself. There. Okay. So I'm now sharing my screen. It should come up over the top of me.
I've got to go to it.
Right.
Hold on. I've got to set it up. Okay, hold on. Getting it set so that it makes sense. All right, that ought to work.
All right. Let me see if it. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Nah, I doubt anybody's going to be.
Yep. Okay. So on the right side of the page that you guys can see. Okay, I have basically some advised measurements and dimensions for a certain part of making flatters and swage tools. Okay, now at the top, which is from the original source of where I got it, they gave it in US customary units. Okay, or imperial for those that prefer that term. So, but it was only in US customary. Now, as I'm sure many of you are aware, the US and two other countries, the only ones that use US customary in regular usage. Everywhere else uses metric. So, as part of doing this book, one of the things that I'm trying to do is to convert everything over to, so not only does it have US customary, but all has metric. Now, this was also kind of brought on because I watched a YouTube short or a Instagram reel or something, young Canadian blacksmith that says that he prefers US custom, and he said because it's easier for a trade like blacksmithing, and I don't necessarily disagree. And I said this to Yamez as well in the midst of my absolute fuming, because what had happened is. Yeah, I absolutely was, because as you can see, there is measurements in here that says 1 1/16, right? Or 1 15/16. Okay. And
that's so totally self-explanatory.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. 1930 seconds. Right, and so Yamez piped up and said, "Oh well, when you need to go smaller than 30 seconds, you go to 64ths, and if you need smaller than 64ths, you go 128." So I said, actually, in my experience, everything I've ever read, once you get smaller than 64ths, you go to hundredths or thousandths of an inch, right? Which is freaking base 10. It's metric. Once you go lower than 64th, you revert to metric. But also, like, the difference between 15/16 and an inch is literally like 10 point or a tenth of a millimeter, and ridiculously small. Insofar that on that that image that you can see with the dimensions, I have actually rounded it to the nearest whole millimeter, because some of them will be 22.84, in which case it's just easier to round it to 23 millimeters. We're not working with that tight of a tolerance when it comes to general blacksmithing. If you're working in machining, that's a different thing. You need those tight tolerances, etc.
1/16 of an inch is 0.009 bananas.
Right. Anyway,
just so you know.
So I was trying to convert these US customary measurements over to over to metric, so that someone looking at this graph that doesn't use US customary could go, okay, so it's 7, the capacity of a roundings, or a swedge for rounding off a top tool. If they want a 3/8 capacity, it's going to be the height of the eye for the handle is going to be 7/8 or 22 millimeters, thereabouts. Okay, because it's not exactly 22 millimeters, 22.28 or something like that.
Yeah.
And but then it was like 11/16 or 19/30 seconds, and it's kind of like, you can't, when it comes to larger standard measurements, it's about an inch. I know that the tip of my thumb for the first joint of my thumb is about an inch long,
which is 1/7 of a banana.
Yeah. Or about 25 millimeters. I know 2 joints is about 2 inches. So I know if I go like that, I know that's about 4 inches long. Okay. And
hold on.
Making,
you were holding your hands up and doing things, but nobody can see your face because of the way. Okay. Do that again.
Hang on, mate.
You got it on screen now.
Okay, so 2 thumbs together, if I go like that, it's about 4 inches, right? A thumb being 2 inches and the first joint being an inch. So general estimating on how long something is in the shop using inches, it's about 6 inches, it's about a foot being 12 inches, that's about an inch and a half. Fair enough. Okay, for an inch and a half, again, I don't even bother saying inch. I'll go, it's about 12 mil, about 10 mil. Oh, sorry, an inch and a half. So it's about half an inch is about 12 mil. So an inch and a half, fair enough. And it doesn't even, when you start getting to 2 inches and 5 inches and all that type of thing, it's not even a shortcut in language anymore. When you're using inch and a half, or 1 1/8. It gets to the point where you go, okay, 1 1/8 is 29 mil, because you don't work generally when you're working with metric. It's millimeters, centimeters, meters. You don't really use centimeters on anything smaller than It's like you guys don't use yards. Most people don't use centimeters. We use millimeters or meters, and then kilometers.
A meter is approximately 3 foot.
It's okay. Now here comes my next argument against US customary. US customary is. I'm going to close down. I'm going to stop streaming my thing now. US customary is literally defined by metric. Okay, so US customary units have been defined in terms of metric units since the 19th century, and the international standard of increments has been the preferred system of weights and measures in the United States trade and commerce since 1975, according to United States law. Okay, so your inches, your pounds, all your standard measurements are defined by metric.
Yeah, well, 1 meter
So-
is 5.618 bananas.
That's true, right? So 1 inch is equal to 25.4 millimeters. 1 foot is equal to 0.3048 meters, which is basically 304.8 millimeters, or 30 centimeters. 1 yard is equal to 0.9144 meters, or 914.4 millimeters, or 91.44 centimeters. And 1 mile is equal to 1.609 kilometers. All right. Now, most people, if I gave them decimal for their imperial measures, most people wouldn't be able to convert that to the fractional. I can convert my decimal to my whole numbers like that because it's base 10. You just got to move the zeros or move the
Well,
decimal
because
point.
I think people who use metric just don't know how to use fractions.
That's not true.
Fractions are easy. What's 1/2 of a centimeter?
Oh, Alexis is saying something.
Oh,
I was gonna say, hey, Adam, do you know what how to define like things like pennyweight or carat or grain? I don't even know what system those are.
pennyweight, stone, and
Those are British imperial. That's
Because
what
I know carats. There's 20 carats in a gram, but pennyweight and grains, I don't understand that at all.
It was originally all based on barley. So a grain was equal to the weight of a barley corn originally. But that went out of use about 150, 200 years ago.
We still measure firearm propellant in grains though, or is that the yeah, it is because it's like
Yeah, it is, but it's now defined by metric.
what?
It was originally based on barley corn and stuff like that, but it's now defined by metric.
What? No, it'll just be
Yep.
fucking crooked as shit.
Yep. And this whole rabbit hole started because I'm so frustrated with US customary. It's like a troy ounce is different to an ounce,
yeah, and it's so simple.
whereas a gram is a gram is a gram.
What about a troy gram?
Gram, whereas a troy ounce is different to an ounce.
20 grams in an ounce.
I just
See, and as George said, he measures the bullet in
31
grains and he measures the bullet powder in grams. So but again, I'm not totally against US customary. I have to say, I'm not totally against it.
How am I going to get that in there if it's fucking anyway?
I use US customary. I estimate in US customary. I can easily talk. I'm doing a forge. I'm forging something. You need to forge it out about 2 inches. You need to forge it out about 5 inches. You need to put the mark in about 3.5 inches. I got no issue in talking and that type of thing. However, it makes it challenging when someone goes, "How long's that?" Or I'm trying to make exact measurements, and I'm recording exact measurements or transcribing exact measurements, and most of the world uses metric, and the US uses US customary. I actually have a really, really good example of that. Whilst I bring it up.
okay. It doesn't exist. I'm going to make it.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to make a tape measure, a banana tape measure. where every
A
7
banana
inches it
tape
goes
measure.
1B, 2B, 3B. Yeah, every 7 inches.
Fair enough.
A banana tape measure. Come on. Hello, everybody who I haven't said hello to yet. Hey, I can put a goal. Oh, that forces you guys to do super chats for things. I don't want to do that. I want to force you guys to do super chats. All right. Pay for a little time super chat. I got distracted by shiny things. I saw a squirrel on screen, so
All right, so I'm going to bring up some official dimensions for tongs, right? That were part of a country. I'm not gonna say what country it is here because it's going to be in the book. But this was part of a country's official standards for smithing tools. Okay, let me zoom in and I'll share my screen again. Right. Hang on. Whoop.
all right, I set a goal. 10 super chats and I will stop talking about bananas.
I just loaded up
Another live
again. Yamas. Yep. So this is a set of official measurements for blacksmithing tongs and of different types from a country. And as you can see, it says in millimeters. Right? So this is a pair of pickup tongs, a pair of rivet or chain makers tongs, a pair of bolt jaw tongs, flat jaw tongs, a whole heap of different types of tongs. And these measurements are in millimeters. Okay? And this was a country's official standards for tools. So
no wonder they didn't land on the moon.
They did.
Oh, we
did?
This
particular country did land on the moon. No, the country I'm talking about has landed on the moon. So the argument that, only one, there's countries who use metric and countries that land on the moon. First of all, America got to the moon using metric because most of NASA's scientists at that stage were German. And second, three countries at least that have been to the moon, two of which use metric. But yeah, so this is all in metric, right, with tolerances and everything like that. So, at the end of the day, this will be in the book as well, but these are metric, considering that most of the stuff in the book is going to be in imperial, I'm going to leave these in metric.
Okay, I think it's official. I think you need to make the forward of your book, or at least a note to the forward of the book, just a page-long diatribe against inches and feet and pounds and ounces. Do it.
I still use it. Mm-mm.
There we go. George Anderson with a $2 super chat towards the goal. I don't see many calipers with measurement marks. Right?
Mm.
There you go.
I talk about calipers in general, or like blacksmith calipers, because you can always make a set of blacksmith calipers and put your own measurements on there.
Like I said, I want to make a tape measure. I want to make a tape measure that's banana scale. Yeah, banana calipers.
You just made yourself a Tarsi, as you're going to make banana calipers. Anyway, I'm closing off this screen share. I just wanted to show you that I do have some standard tools that are now in
right.
That are in metric. The whole thing's designed in metric. So yes, so they will be going in.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I know, okay. This conversation could go on for hours, discussing, measurements, the historical measurements, why anvils are measured in stone weight. And you have to, when you see the markings, you have to convert that to pounds and everything like that. You know, so we have discussed measurements in our history of blacksmithing year as well. That alone is worth its own topic. We've briefly touched on it here and there over the years, but that pound and stone, or that stone weight form of measurement, and going into some of the earlier forms of measurement, that are still used today, are kind of worth a discussion. So I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. Like next time we're on, we should probably continue the measurements and go into like stone weight and grain weight and all of the stuff that predates modern measurements. Going into time too. Like when did time first start getting measured? The Gregorian, is it the Gregorian calendar that we use?
No, we use the Julian calendar now. The Gregorian calendar was the one that was before.
Right. There
are still some parts of the world.
Yeah,
there are still some parts of the world that use the Gregorian.
Well, because it's an interesting introspective as how we as a human species grow and evolve over time based on understandings and requirements and needs to be a little bit more precise. And we just lost Adam right at the end. Oh, silly. He goes, screw Europe. You knew I was going to go into aliens, right, Alexis?
Yeah. He's like, all right, I'm out.
Yep, he goes, screw this. Well, all that to say that we're probably going to move on to the final thoughts right now. I hope Adam comes back for those. But I think a snake got him, yeah. I didn't drop, you dropped.
Yeah, I don't really have much for final thought. I mean, like, it's another day, another dollar.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He thinks that we dropped. No, he dropped.
Yeah, what's the difference between a ton TON and a TONNE?
A what? Say that again?
Like ton is something that's spelled TON.
Oh, ton. Yeah. Yeah, the difference between a ton and a ton. You got like an imperial ton and a metric ton. And we'll go over into how many bananas a ton is in 2 weeks.
There you go.
But
is that a shit ton?
Yeah, there's so many measurements of ton. Shit ton, metric shit ton, all sorts of them. Oh, he's back.
I don't know what happened there. I was still in the chat, but it just wasn't connected. I don't know what happened.
You clicked a button that said
reconnected.
You clicked the FU button.
There is actually a measurement called a butt. So a buttload is a thing.
Yeah, I know. Like, I got a buttload of problems.
But a butt is about, I think, butt's twice a hogshead, and hogshead's half a barrel.
Yeah. I want to delve into that. We don't have time today, but let's let's go into measurements next show. Like, let's really dig deep and find out all the weirdest measurements we can find. Yeah, I think that'll be fun. You know.
I want to bring back the cubit.
Maybe we can even delve into the greatest mystery of measurement of all time.
What's
What's
that?
that?
I'm scared.
Why do men think that 4 inches is 6 inches?
Yes.
because things in the mirror appear larger than they really are.
That phrase, that whole thing, the little okay, it's like objects in mirror are closer than they appear. So the object in the mirror looks closer, or the object is closer than the mirror makes it appear. I've never like that is the most confusing bit of literature out there of wording. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. So the object is closer, or the mirror makes it appear closer.
Mm.
Huh? Huh? Come on.
Well, it's the same. It's the same reason when you catch a fish. You might only catch a fish that's this big, but by the time you get home, it's like
Oh yeah.
it's a meter long.
Fish grow when you excite them.
Yep.
Tim. 3 buttloads to a shit ton.
Yep.
No. The fish doesn't grow when, as I say, the fish grows when you get excited, not the fish.
Yeah. Excitement makes the fish grow.
You wouldn't believe the size of this lunker I caught.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wide angle mirrors are my favorite, George.
Yeah, wide angle mirrors makes the Yama's head look smaller.
Anyway, we're cutting dangerously into next fortnight's discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move on to final thoughts here. What y'all thinking?
I'll start. My final thoughts are: take some time to look after yourself, particularly after the information I got about my hip this week. The fact that I'm starting to feel my age, to get a little bit of arthritis in my hip. I need to do some exercises and whatnot in order to maintain, movement and stretching and all that type of thing. And also, after working so ridiculously hard the last couple of months, and burning myself out, basically, make sure you take some time to look after yourself. Whether that is, some people might enjoy a nice warm bath, or, an evening out on the porch with, an adult beverage of your choice and just listening to the birds. Make sure you take some downtime to look after yourself. Many of you I may not have met in person, but I do care about you all. And, we've lost some people in and around the blacksmith community these last couple of months, which is heartbreaking. And whether that's by illness, accident, or misdemeanor on their own behalf or behalf of someone else, every single one of you is important. Make sure you take the time to look after yourself. There's an old saying, charity begins at home. And I've always taken that to mean, before you can help others, help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean exclude others and just look out for yourself before you can help anyone else. But it means you need to take time. It's like air mask in an airplane. Put yours on first before you assist someone else, to make sure you're surviving, to help them survive. Take that time to look after yourself. Make sure you're in an okay position, because everyone benefits when everyone helps each other. Take your time, look after yourself. I love you all, and I'll talk to you next fortnight.
Yeah, I'm a kind of, that brought up a bit of a thought for me. It's like I'm kind of living proof of the whole like sometimes you got to step back and work on yourself and get yourself into a better position. So I guess my final thought, will tag along onto yours. It's like, yeah, it's weird going from like super serious discussion of bananas to this. But like, I came to the realization last week, thinking back on, actually, I should have brought that up in the how was your week. Yeah, last week was rough for me. It's like, there was a lot of like realizations, not that anything happened, but just, reflecting on the past. I do that every now and then. It's like, I basically lived a lot of my life as a doormat to others, and it wasn't until that didn't stop until I started working on myself, so it's like sometimes, even if you've spent your entire life helping others achieve their goals, you'll never achieve your goals, so do what you can to put yourself in a position to where you can help others, because like Adam just said, if you are struggling, any help you give others extends your struggle. But it's always good to help others if you have the ability. So do it. My, general final thoughts is, of course, thank you all for showing up. Appreciate the shit out of every single one of you, especially those who have been here since the beginning. We're pushing a decade of Island Metal Forge being live. Not continuously. That would be one hell of a stream. But yeah. And look forward to Tub Time with Yamez. That podcast will be coming out at some point soon. I'm going to be building a outdoor tub and having guests. I'm going to be wearing a tuxedo and drinking scotch and smoking pipes or cigars or whatever, and discussing super serious, things such as trilobites and ammonites and other ites. Anyway, Alexis, what are your final thoughts?
You might be busy.
No, I don't really have anything.
You don't have any?
No, I got to go.
All right, adios. Well, everybody, don't forget, follow D&D 721 on Spotify, and we'll get some stuff set up, get you guys into the D&D realm and the Dungeons and Dragons and all that fun stuff. With that, guys, I do have to click go and go. So y'all have a fantastic day.